What's the role of JavaScript in today's world? Now, as a side note, JavaScript can be run on the server with Node.js. That's another role of JavaScript, a role I won't have a look at in this course because this course will focus on the front-end JavaScript development, the most typical use case of JavaScript usage, and also the use case where we have all these frameworks and libraries. So let's understand how JavaScript works or why we use it to begin with. We're sitting in front of our machine, we're the client, we're visiting a web page. And we do so by typing some URL into our browser and therefore sending a request to the server. Now, server means any kind of server running any kind of server-side language. For example, PHP, ASP.NET, Node.js, or also Ruby on Rails, Python, and so on. That doesn't matter for this course. The server-side language doesn't matter at all. We will have a look at the front end, at JavaScript. Speaking of that, right now we only send a request, but of course we want to get back a response, so we probably receive such a response by the server, and typically this response holds a HTML document. Some HTML code our browser can now parse to create the DOM, the document object model, which basically is the parsed HTML code rendered by the browser. Now typically we don't just get back the HTML code, but this code might include some styling or JavaScript, or might reference some external JavaScript files which are then also downloaded. And that's the interesting part. It probably includes JavaScript of some sort. And JavaScript runs on the client. So where our server-side languages here run on the server and therefore are done at the point of time we get back the response, JavaScript is still able to run once we are on that page. And that is why JavaScript is so popular these days. Since it runs on the client, it is able to execute code without us sending a new request, without us reloading the page. So we can change the page after it has been loaded. And that allows us to create great user experiences. Whenever you see a modal open up on a page, or whenever there is something dynamic, whenever the page changes at runtime, there is a high chance that JavaScript is responsible for this. That you actually didn't receive a new page by the server, but instead that parts of that page were changed by JavaScript. Some CSS classes might have been changed, or whole new elements were added or removed to and from the DOM. This is what JavaScript does. And it is either used like this, where we have a server-side setup which sends us back pages where we use JavaScript to enhance the user experience, or, and we will have a look at this later in the course, there even is a pattern which becomes more and more popular, where JavaScript runs our entire front end, creating a single page application where we only get back one page from the server, and then JavaScript does everything on the front end and we only send occasional behind the scenes requests to the server, but more on that later. But that is the role JavaScript plays. It allows us to change something about the page after it has been loaded, and therefore it's an important piece in building an awesome user experience because it is very reactive, very fast, and very instant. Now that's the role of JavaScript. Let's have a look at the JavaScript world next.